Hello, hello, my friends. I have the second half of the BREW collection to share with you guys in this video. If you caught my video, what was that, 2 nights ago? I was feeling a little bit sassy. I was feeling a little bit sassy. I'm not as spicy tonight, but I still have some more thoughts to share with you guys at the end of this video. But before we get to that, we need to smell these candles. I shared the other 3, like I said, the other night. I will have that video linked at the end of this one in case you missed it, if you want my thoughts. However, I will let you guys know at the end of this video, I am going to rank all 6 candles from this collection. Let you guys know, if I didn't receive these in PR, which, spoiler alert, that's how I have my hands on these candles prior to launch. KRINGLE was kind enough to send these to me. I did not pay for them. I am a brand ambassador, but y'all know, obviously, if you watched that video the other night, I'm going to keep it pretty real with you. But at the end of this video, I'm going to let you guys know if I walked into a store and I picked these up and smelled them, which ones would I buy? I feel like that's a pretty good gauge to let you guys know where my preferences lie and generally like what I think of these. So if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I feel like by this point, we all know, because all of the ambassadors are probably starting to bombard your feed with this type of video. BREW does launch tomorrow, August 21st. That is a Friday at 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the West Coast like me, that's going to be 9 a.m. These are going to be available at the time that I'm filming this. I haven't received word that the 4 wicks are not going to be available, so I am assuming that these are also going to be available in the 3 wick format that I have here in front of me, as well as a 4 wick. 3 wicks will retail for $34. They are 22 ounces of 100% soy wax. The 4 wick candles are 32 ounces of 100% soy wax, and those retail for $50. I do have an affiliate discount code. KD15 will save you guys 15% off of your purchase. And don't forget, you guys, again, as of the time that I'm filming, I was so anxious to sit down and film this, you guys, that I haven't checked my emails or the KRINGLE group or anything like that. At the time that I am filming, it looks like part 1 4 wicks are also going to be in stock tomorrow. So I know I myself am excited to pick up a Haunted Hallows in a 4 wick. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into my thoughts on these candles. As always, I will have everything in the description box down below. I will make sure that I have timestamps as well as all of the fragrance notes. So the first candle that I want to talk about is Owl's Brew. Owl's Brew has fragrance notes of liquor, candied fruit, lemon, strawberry, jasmine, white floral, moss, cedarwood, ambergris, and cooked sugar. Now, I am going to note, you guys, these also have a pour date of August 12th, which was last week. I already kind of went on a tangent about that in the first video, so I'm not going to go, wildly overboard again. Soy wax, my understanding, and this is from, it's always been my understanding, soy wax needs 14 days to cure. So these were poured a little over a week ago, about a week ago last Wednesday. So I myself would not feel comfortable trying to burn these just quite yet. I want to let these sit for at least another week before I take a flame to them. So Owl's Brew, we've got these cute little owls around their little witch's cauldron with their little witch hats on, and we've got a little bit of like a haunted house in the background with the full moon. All right, you guys, this is an interesting one. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information at the end of this video that you might find kind of interesting. But here's the thing about this candle, you guys. I definitely get that liquor note on the top. It's slightly boozy, but this is not like an overly boozy fragrance. This is kind of like a perfumey type of scent. It's sweet. It's definitely a sweet fragrance. I keep putting the lid on and then I take it off because I feel like that helps me kind of like gauge the fragrance a little bit. You definitely get some floral elements, but that liquor note and the ambergris, like the green notes in here, the moss and the cedarwood, are slightly, they're giving this like almost a slightly masculine perfuminess. But the floral and the fruity elements in here, it's giving me, I talked to another ambassador, again, I'll fill you in today, that she kind of feels like this is like Sol de Janeiro 68, which is kind of like Kringle already has a candle called Mon Amour. It's kind of in that Baccarat Rouge 540. We all know like when that was all the craze. And while I don't feel like this is I don't feel like this is an exact dupe. I feel like this is Baccarat Rouge 540, kind of like on steroids. I feel like maybe if you've ever smelled that candle, there's more sweetness in this. I think that those are attributed to those citrus notes at the top. Candied fruit, liquor, lemon. That's what I'm thinking, like, and a strawberry. There's some sweetness, but then there's jasmine, which is also kind of a sweet floral, and white floral in there. But then that ambergris note, and the moss, it's almost like if you've ever smelled Baccarat Rouge or any of the dupes, there's like a million dupes, or Sol de Janeiro 68. There is kind of like a woody, I think the note in that is like a saffron. And that's kind of what I'm getting from this. It's a sweeter take, I feel like, on Baccarat Rouge 540. Kind of a more of a perfumey type of candle. I would say this isn't like an absolute love for me, but I haven't stuck my nose in it and been like, ugh, that's awful, you know? We all know how I responded to one of those candles the other night. I was like, ooh, I don't like it. I don't feel that way about this one. So that is Owl's Brew. All right, the one that is probably my second favorite label, you guys all know I was partial to the roasting marshmallows because of the cats. I am a crazy cat lady. It is in my blood. My husband limits me to one cat, and also my one cat we have had since she was a kitten, and she's a female ginger, and she is now 14. She's actually older than my youngest child, and she is extremely territorial. So between Ruby and Cody, I am limited to having one cat right now, but let me tell you, I'd have more if I could. This is pumpkin carving. So this is like if Melanie and I had like the perfect compromise, because we've got the pug here and then we have the cat, right? I actually have had a couple of black cats in my life. So yeah, it's really cute and sweet there. Pumpkin carving has fragrance notes of pumpkin puree, nutmeg, honey, brown butter, candied fruit, cinnamon, clove bud, sweet cream, and bourbon vanilla. And I'm going to give you guys a little moment of pause because the air here is really, really dry, and I'm noticing my throat is very like not itchy like you're getting sick, but it just feels a little bit itchy. We've had some rain, so I suspect something's blooming. All right, you don't care about that. Pumpkin carving. This is nice, you guys. Is this Bath & Body Works pumpkin carving? No. Is it kind of in that vein? A little bit. It is a little bit, you guys. I think it's done better. To be honest with you, I think it's done better. It's a little bit sweeter. I feel like it's not as heavy leaning into like the brown sugar. So I'm just going to tell you guys what I was going to tell you earlier or later. Earlier today, when I was actually down getting my hair done, I was in the vicinity of where Amy from Beloved Fragrance Finds lives. And I actually stopped by her house to do a little sniff session for some other candles. And it happened to be that her Kringle PR had arrived just about maybe like an hour and a half before I got there. So I actually have already put my nose in these. And it's funny because when I was smelling this at her house, I didn't really pick up on any kind of pumpkin at all. But now that I'm here at home, I pick up on a little bit of it. But this to me is still very much like a sweet, it's like a sweet pumpkin scent. Again, it's not as leaning as heavily into the brown butter and the honey. I am getting some nutmeg. I'm getting a little bit of spice, but really, you guys, what is coming through, and I think what is lending some more, like making this kind of like a sweeter pumpkin, is the sweet cream and the vanilla bourbon. The vanilla bourbon in here is not leaning too boozy. This is not bourbon bonfire. I know a lot of people find that one to be way too boozy for them, or smoky. It's funny. People have described that as being really smoky, and I'm like, I don't detect smokiness. But this to me, yeah, you definitely get the sweet cream. The the bourbon note in here, I think, is lending like a sweet note more than it is a boozy fragrance to my nose. But I'm smelling a little bit of that pumpkin puree on the top. Again, it's not like a deep, like super savory orange pumpkin. It's not a white pumpkin either, though. This is a very, very, very different fragrance than, say, you know, their fall lineup. Their pumpkin notes, they went a little bit more like elevated and sophisticated, and we, like Melanie would call it, fancy lady type of pumpkin scents. This is definitely like a sweeter pumpkin. I feel like this one is going to appeal to the masses a lot. I'm not mad about it. I really, really like this fragrance. I think this is going to be versatile. I feel like this is this year's version of like the appeal that Lil Devil had last year, or the year prior to that. They had a candle that sold out in like 5 minutes, the Black Cat on a Pumpkin. Again, very different fragrance, but I feel like it's going to be the most mass appealing. I feel like this is a type of pumpkin scent that can blend pretty much with anything that you have in your collection. If you have like an outdoorsy type of fresh scent, it'll blend well with that. If it's going to blend well with apple fragrances, it's going to blend well with other pumpkin scents. It could blend well with the roasting marshmallows. I feel like this is going to be just a good, it's almost kind of like it's not just straight vanilla to me. It's definitely not. You definitely get sweetness from bourbon. And my nose is now picking up on a little bit of pumpkin, but this is not overly spiced. This is not as spicy as Lil Devil was. If you found Lil Devil to be a little bit too spicy, it's not like that. So there is, what was that? Pumpkin carving. It is not the same as Bath and Body Works pumpkin carving. Kind of in the element, but again, I think it's sweeter. If you like pumpkin carving from Bath and Body Works, and honestly, I would recommend actually pairing this pumpkin carving with a candle from the Part 1 collection. If you picked up Haunted Harvest also kind of gives me pumpkin carving vibes, but it's got that, some people don't like this. They're calling it like a powdery, almost like a powdery essence. There's something that's leaning a little bit more toasty with that one, and I think it's the ginger note that's listed. I will talk about that in a video that I have going up this weekend. I actually filmed a little haul video to share with you guys, but we'll talk about that in that video. Finally, the last candle that I wanted to share with you is Good Evening. Now, this is this cute little raccoon with his little, he's got like a little vampire costume on. It looks like he's in like, oh, I don't know, maybe like old London or something like that. You know, maybe he's in Edinburgh or something like that. We've got a castle in the background. Once again, you guys, these labels are pretty dark. This one is slightly bubbled. I will say, like, if you run your hand along it, you know, some of these are smooth. This one, there's a little bit of bubbling on it. Okay, Good Evening has fragrance notes of coffee, spice, caramel, cardamom, butter, cream, and vanilla. All right, I'm seeing 2 notes in here that are making me nervous: cardamom and butter. So, all right. Okay. I don't hate this. I really don't. There's something about it that I actually kind of like. This is for those of you guys who like those really what I would call like sweet, dense, caramelized types of candles. Do I smell coffee in here? Yes. I definitely smell a coffee note in here, but my nose is actually right now picking up a little bit more on kind of the caramel note. There's something that smells kind of buttery. And see, I don't know down here, is this supposed to be butter or buttercream? There's no comma between, but it's spelled butter and cream. So I don't know. Cardamom is always a note, you guys, that's really interesting. I like it on cold, but usually once a flame is taken to it, my nose does not always like that. So I'm very curious to see how much of the cardamom comes out in this. If you're curious, comparing like other coffee scents, this is not Caramel Sundays Hawkins Autumn. Clearly, they're very, very different fragrances. I do get coffee in here, but I will say that like earlier today when I sniffed this at Amy's, at first I was just like, whoa, like a lot of coffee. But the more I smell this, the coffee note, it's there, but I feel like it's one of those notes that's going to take a back seat as it's burning. It does have a little bit of spice, but really what my nose is picking up on is the like a rich caramel. And it's not even like the caramel that you would get, like say those little, it's not those little artificial caramel squares, like the little craft ones. It's not that. It's very much like a homemade type of caramel. I just know in the past, you guys, when I have liked fragrances like this from Kringle, ooh, you know what it's actually kind of reminding me of? Sorry, I'm all over the place. Oh, what is the, Oh my goodness, I'm going to pop a picture up in it if I think of it. The butter rum cafe. Was that the one that we had a couple of years ago? It's funny. I'm like, this smells familiar. I have a feeling if you liked the butter rum cafe, I think you're going to like that. It's just, it like all came together for me right now, you guys. I think the coffee note is slightly stronger in this one, but I think that that's the note that I'm picking up on. Ah ha ha, it came together for me. I think it's like butter rum cafe. That's what it is. Oh, thank you. Kind of finally came to mind. When I smelled this earlier, I was like, this smells familiar. Again, I don't feel like it's a repackaged fragrance, but I feel like if you liked butter rum cafe, I think you're going to like this one. Because it's in that vein. Got a little bit more of a coffee note to it, a little bit more spice, but not a ton. But my nose is definitely picking up on the same like caramel note that I got in butter rum cafe. So that is good evening. All right, you guys. So if we want to do a ranking here of like number 6 through number 1, number 6, you guys, clearly, if you watched my video the other night, it is going to be Candy Hall. I think from what I have seen from all of the other ambassadors at this point, I think we're all going to just send Candy Hall over to charity because I think she's like, she loves this one. But from what I've seen from some of the other ones, at least who I've either talked to behind the scenes or I've seen their videos, I don't think that this is a popular one. I will say, I will respect, and I think it was Brett who brought this up, I will respect that KRINGLE tried to do a candy fragrance that is not chocolate. I can see where they were going because this is very much like a very sweet artificial candy. Not quite super sour, but maybe it's got like a tanginess to it. I think the tangy aspect comes across slightly floral to some people's noses, like mine. But yeah, it's not mine, you guys. That powdery note is definitely in there in the base. So that is number 6 for me. Number 5 is going to be, not that one, I know that. Number 5, you guys, I think it's going to be Harvest Moon Cider. Something about this one is just, again, I might like it a lot more on burn. It's just, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to save my thoughts at the end. I was wanting this to be like an apple cider scent. I think a lot of people were, and so I'm a bit disappointed that it's not. Now, granted, I know that cider can be, you know, all sorts of different fruits and whatnot. But yeah, it's very, very, like, it's a very sweet cider type of fragrance. Plum, cranberry spice, cassis, sugared citrus berry. It's just, I guess it's not as like deep and autumnal as I wanted it to be. It's a little too sugary smelling for me. So that is Harvest Moon Cider. I would say number 4 for me, you guys, is going to be Owl's Brew. Again, it's kind of perfumey, which you guys know, perfumey body care fragrances don't tend to be something that I enjoy in home fragrance. I might love to slather my body in scents like that, but I don't always love it in home fragrance. Again, not a bad fragrance. Gosh, there's something about this, like the liquor and ambergris, like that is hitting my nose that I'm like, it's familiar. It's going to rattle my brain here. What is this? I'm like, what is this when I smell it? It's something that I've smelled at KRINGLE before, but I just can't figure it out. But regardless, you guys, this one is in the number 4 position for me. Coming in at number 3, you guys, is going to be Good Evening. This one has actually really grown on me. And again, I'm so proud of myself now that I've been able to connect it to being Butter Rum Cafe. Similar. Again, I feel like this is probably a sibling to Butter Rum Cafe. Yeah, definitely. But again, you have to be okay with the coffee note. The coffee note in here, like I said, I think on first whiff, all I smell is coffee. But now the more that I sniff it, that coffee is really kind of taken a back seat. And yeah, it's kind of, again, it's just reminding me of Butter Rum Cafe. Coming in at number 2, even though this is my number 1 label, coming in at number 2 is going to be Roasting Marshmallows. I think most of us are all in agreement. Most of the ambassadors who I have seen speak about this, we are all pretty much in agreement. If you like Bath & Body Works Marshmallow Fireside, if you have been waiting for a 100% soy wax version of it, here's your chance. This is what it smells like to me. It smells like Bath & Body Works Marshmallow Fireside. It's the closest version that I've smelled Kringle get to. In my other video, I compared it to last year's Ghost Stories. This is not warm and toasty. I was actually laughing the other day. I was watching one of my fellow ambassadors and she opened the box right away. I'm not going to give it away in case you haven't seen her video, but she opened the box and at first she's like, oh, this smells familiar stuff. And I'm like screaming like on the thing. I'm like, it's Marshmallow Fireside. And then she came back to it and was like, oh, now it smells like Marshmallow Fireside. We were cracking up. But yeah, this is coming in at number 2. And number 1, you guys, number 1 for me is going to be pumpkin carving. Pumpkin carving. Yeah, I like this, you guys. This is very pretty. This is a really good, versatile, kind of familiar type of sweet pumpkin type of scent. Not as spicy. You know what it kind of reminds me of? But again, not as spicy, so don't let this scare you. Kind of in the vein of Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin at Bath & Body Works, but not as cinnamon heavy. Again, I've talked about this, and I've actually talked about it in a review for another brand this week. I think that it's the cinnamon note in Bath & Body Works that I don't like. It's too much for me. It's too, it hits my nose, it's too sharp. It's too much. But I find in soy wax brands that use different quality of oils, that when they use a cinnamon note or something, it just smells a little bit better. And that's, I feel like, kind of what this is. I feel like this is a much softer, more palatable take on Bath & Body Works Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin. I think that's what it is. So if I were to walk into a store, you guys, here are the two. There are two that I would hands down buy. I think you can tell. It's the top 2, right? Roasting marshmallows and Okay, let's hold this up correctly, Katie. I don't want to drop it and break them. So pumpkin carving and roasting marshmallows would be the two that if I walked into a store, stuck my nose in, I would plop down the money to go ahead and purchase these. I will tell you, the more I keep sniffing that Good Evening, the more intrigued. I think that like Good Evening is one of those that I would keep going back to. But really, if it came if you said I can only buy 2, I would say roasting marshmallows, pumpkin carving, and my personal opinion is to pick up Haunted Hallows. Those are like that would be my order tomorrow. If I did not receive these 2 in PR, that's what I would order. So those are my thoughts. The other 4, again, a couple of them, they're just not in line with my own personal preferences. I did mention the other day, you guys, that I am actually going out of town at the end of next week. And because I want soy wax to cure for at least 2 weeks, I likely will not have any post-burn reviews on these prior to me going out of town. But I will make sure to give you guys some post-burn thoughts when I'm able to deliver them. And hopefully, things will be in stock still. If not, it just is what it is. So my final thoughts, you guys, for Kringle Halloween, I kind of went on a tangent the other day. I do really appreciate all of the commentary that you guys put in the comments box. I do try to respond to all of my comments. You know what? I think like a lot of you guys were saying like, yep, we've all noticed the elephant in the room. I really do truly believe, you guys, that 2026 has just been a rough year for Kringle. I think that like all businesses with growth, sometimes they try new things and sometimes new things work and sometimes they don't. And I think, unfortunately, there can be a series of events that just don't go well. It's just like life, right? Sometimes we have good seasons and other times we have hard ones where it just seems like one thing after another does not seem to go our way. I do have trust. I do know that Mick listens to feedback. I do know, the other people that I have met that work at Kringle they're working hard, and so I really do have full confidence that they are going to right this ship by the end of this year, by, going into 2027. And the other thing that I wanted to let you guys know, in case you're not on the Facebook group, I know a lot of people have been talking about the shipping delays from the part 1. Y'all, Queen Jamie broke her ankle last week, you guys. Jamie cannot go down. I wanted to be like, do we need to start a GoFundMe to get you like one of those little scooters to, to get around the warehouse? So yeah, you guys, be patient. I know a lot of people, it's very, very easy to say, hey, they just need to hire more people. Well, yeah, no, you know what, Sherlock, right? Like, yes, it would be great in an ideal world, but if any of you guys have talked to business owners these days, whether they run large corporations or they are running mom and pop shops, there's a variety of factors that go into this, but they will all echo the same sentiment. Hiring reliable employees these days is really, really difficult. And I would say that that might be exacerbated even more in Bernardston, Massachusetts, which is, I think when I was there, I don't remember the exact population. I think it's like less than 1,000 people live there. It's in a very rural area. It's not like right outside of Boston or some sprawling metropolis where there's a lot of people to choose from. So again, you guys, I think that they're just going through growing pains. And I think that, you know, eventually, I really do have confidence that whatever has been going on eventually will, you know, will be sorted out. And if they choose to speak about it, they probably will, or they may not, you know, and that's that.